Hi friends, welcome back to StoneburnerBooks YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do another Q&A. Last week I had some questions come in over on my Instagram account, so I wanted to answer those in a video rather than just as text on a story that would go away. So one of the first questions I got was just for tips on bookbinding. I would say any of my videos here on YouTube have lots of tips for bookbinding, especially my longer ones where I'm kind of just talking through binding or whatever process I'm working on. I try to, just talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing the things I do. Another good way to get tips is I do now have subscriptions open on Instagram, so you could subscribe to my Instagram, and there I do private live streams for my subscribers. I provide subscriber-only content as well, so you get a little bit more behind the scenes information and focused tutorials because I ask my subscribers what they want to see. So that would be one other place to get tips other than here on my YouTube channel. The other question is a really good question. It came in and they were asking, how can I get started with bookbinding without breaking the bank? And I have a video, I'm going to try to link it here. It's called, I think, like 10 tools for getting started with bookbinding. And that is my basic 10 tools that I recommend, and a lot of them are not specialty tools. So you can find these things at the hardware store, the craft store. It's a low-cost way to get started in bookbinding, and I always recommend when you're first getting started, just use copier paper to practice your bindings. Don't use the really fancy high-end paper when you're just starting out. I know I always want to get the best stuff and be excited by my project, but when you're practicing, you want to just use kind of accessible, cheap materials so that you can practice, and if it's terrible, recycle it and not worry that you just spent $12 on a piece of paper that you now have to throw in the recycle bin. So I would say practice is the big thing too, to start at the very beginning, because you do need to practice and get used to the different skills. But check out that video of 10 tools to get started, and the cost is pretty low on those tools. Okay, have you tried making your own book cloth? Yes, I have, and this is how far I got. I know some people really like making their own book cloth. I had some really cool cloths back in early 2020. I was making masks, and I had some that was maybe a little bit too thick for masks, but I really liked the patterns on it. And so I attempted making book cloth without looking up any videos or any how-tos. I just thought, okay, the book cloth I like is high quality cloth with a paper backing. So I got a nice paper that has some cotton content in it, and used PVA to glue it to my cloth, and then I basically quickly abandoned the project. So this was a good question. I know there are some bookbinders out there who really enjoy making their own book cloth. I thought it was a fun thing. I may come back to these book cloths that I made, because I do like these patterns and this fabric, but it's not something that I do on a regular basis. I have a good source for high quality book cloth that is already paper backed, and I really like the ones that have the paper backing. I find that they're a lot easier to glue with. So I have made my own book cloth, but I don't know. We'll see how long it holds up. I'm happy that so far it hasn't come apart, and I probably made this 18 months ago and haven't come back to it. So there you go. There's that one. Maybe you'll see it on my channel here. Maybe I'll challenge myself to do something with that in the future. Okay, one of the other questions that came in was, how do you keep your signatures and the stitching tight when you do Coptic binding? So I'm going to try to link another video here for my multi-needle Coptic binding tutorial, and if you watch that, or even if you watch any of the quick bindings that I have, the videos here where the binding process is just sped up, you'll notice I am always tugging on the threads and checking and making sure that the signatures are lined up. And that's my way of helping to keep the binding nice and tight and secure. I'm always checking, and especially in the multi-needle Coptic binding tutorial is where I mention it a lot, because it's in real time and you'll see how many times, like, I sew through all the holes, then I tighten it all up, and then I check, and then I tighten it, and then I do the loop, and then I tighten it, you know. So tightening up your threads on a regular basis and always checking that the inside thread isn't too loose or anything like that, that really will help with that. And then the last question that came in was they wanted a series of easy how-to videos, and I am still working on that here on YouTube. I'm trying to bring in more tutorials. I have 3 right now that I would point you to. Pamphlet stitch, that's a really good one to start with, and again, that's one that you could start with just using regular copier paper, fold it in half, poke some holes in it, and try that pamphlet stitch. You don't need any real specialized materials for that. I have a video on decal edge, how to make a decal edge, which is a very easy process. Again, you only need a ruler for that one, and it will really take your work up a notch because that decal edge looks so cool, and you can use it in different ways. It doesn't just have to be done for the page edges. And then I also have a tutorial on how to make a tiny book, and that uses a stapler. So those are just 3 videos I have currently, and like I said, I'm going to keep trying to do more. So I hope that helps. Please be sure to subscribe or check out the descriptions down below, because I'm going to link all these videos down below as well. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks so much. Bye.